All right, my friends, welcome to episode 176 of Prof and Dev Play Games. I am the Professor Larry at Prof Plays Games on Twitter. Over there is Anthony the Dev at SummerSpeak on Twitter. Before we get anywhere, I'm going to give away a game key code thing, series of numbers and letters for you to plug into Steam. This is for the Mega Man Legacy Collection. It is IY5QG4JVQB9RNC. And then the last letter I will randomly put somewhere in the middle of this podcast. No, just kidding. It's an N. The last letter is an N. So enjoy Mega Man Legacy Collection. That would be fucked up if I did that.
It's just randomly. I'm going to say a letter randomly somewhere else in this hour. Figure out when I say it.
Oh my God.
And it's like I or something. So you use it all the time.
Oh man, I should have done it with the first letter.
Oh.
Well, thanks for listening to our podcast. Check out that key on Steam for Mega Man Legacy Collection. Also, check us out on Humble Bundle. Not Humble Bundle, what the fuck? Check us out on Patreon. Prof and Dev Play Games on Patreon. We have a patron who's got a topic for our next show, so we'll be getting his information, and then we'll do a little question and answer for him next time. So thanks for supporting us on Patreon. Again, anything over our podcast fees goes to Child's Play at the end of the year. So please check us out, support us if you like our show. Also rate us on your podcast service of choice. So big intro. How are you doing, Anthony?
Doing okay. It's been a week.
Sure has.
But I've made it through and get to start pitching our game tomorrow.
That's exciting.
Yeah, I think so.
And nerve-wracking.
I don't have to be in the room. I'm not down in Southern California doing the pitch. That's for our CEO to do. So, but still, it's been a lot for this past week, getting everything together.
Basically putting together the demo for the pitch.
So there's the prototype, which has been fine, and making a new build of the prototype with some the final round of audio in there, just some other minor cleanup, nothing major, because that's been done for a bit. A pitch video that is has some like faked gameplay footage, scripted gameplay, and like some cool stuff there, but then a lot of like just images and art, and the CEO talking over like what the pitch is, what the game is, what's selling the game. Like this is meant for people who aren't presenting to in the room, because then there's another piece which is an entire like PowerPoint presentation that you of course would give to people in a room as you're talking them through things. So those are like the three big pieces, and most of it that's been the past week has been all the feedback and honing in on that video and the script and, you know, the details of that script and word choice and recording quality and, all those things. It's been a lot.
Long nights?
Yeah, later nights, long days, lots of back and forth of minor things that you're like, this is not huge. We're talking about changing like 3 words, but we got to do it. So re-record, re-export.
Right.
Exporting video takes a while too. So,
oh yeah.
But it's there. We're going to do it tomorrow. And then we have a couple more on Wednesday. Then I think the next ones are going to be DICE and Vegas in a couple weeks. Yeah, I think there'll be a bunch there. And then GDC in March.
And are those pitches that are like scheduled, or you kind of just come in with your game and just see who will sit down and talk?
Pre-scheduled. They are through our agents. Our agents are setting up all these meetings. So
I see.
This is the great part about having an agent.
Yeah, they do all that legwork for you.
They do that. They have the connections. They have, and they are the ones who set up these meetings and prep the people, the publishers or the partners that we're talking to, prep them on like what they're going to see, would they be interested. Like they've already been a little bit primed going into it.
Right.
The other thing the agents have been great about is we've been presenting all this stuff this past week to the agents, doing the pitch, the video, showing our progress, like what we're doing, and they have been giving us just tons of feedback.
Oh, good.
Because they have done this before. Like, they are very good about, like, change this slide, change these words, like, swap where you're talking about things. This is what people are going to care about at this company or this company. And so, doing the things that you would want agents to do. So, fee. Yeah, well, there's no fee. Well, I guess there is a fee. If we get signed, they will get a cut of the signing.
Right.
But that will be negotiated above what we're asking. So we will get what we're asking.
Right.
And then they will get a little bit more.
Yeah. Well, it's in their best interest for your pitch to be great then.
Yeah, and it shows to us a level of confidence there that they're setting up these meetings.
Right.
Because if they weren't confident in what we're doing and the pitch and what we're trying to do, they wouldn't be setting up these meetings.
Right.
So
that's exciting, man. That was really cool.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to hearing what progress we can hear publicly on the podcast.
Yeah.
That's
Can't tell the companies that we're presenting to. But,
no, of course not. Nintendo. Just kidding. Don't confirm or deny that. I'm just making shit up.
Now, unfortunately, Nintendo is not on the list. They don't do
Okay.
They don't do PC games, so makes it hard.
I guess that makes sense. Too bad you're not making a mobile game, I guess, then.
Oh no, I can stay away from mobile for a while. It's okay.
Yeah, you've been there. Totally unrelated, but in terms of stuff we're creating, I've decided in the new year to start doing some writing about video game stuff, specifically where it dovetails with my profession. I've been thinking about this for a while, about doing a series of projects about how analyzing games or game structures or anything in the industry through the lens of like pedagogy or teaching or how people learn. So I'm starting to do some short posts on our website, which is professorplaysgames.com. It's a 750 words series. So it's whatever game I'm playing, just a 750 words little blog post on that game, dovetailing with some sort of pedagogy or some sort of teaching design. And I actually wrote one today on Magic the Gathering Arena because I played that today and just things started popping off in my head and sat down and did a little thing and edited it and threw it up. So if you want to check that out, professorplaysgames.com. It's up there, 750 words on Magic the Gathering Arena, which we will talk about later. But first, we are going to start by talking about Anthem, the VIP stress test or VIP demo.
No, they call it a demo. They use demo throughout this thing all over the place, and
yeah,
we can get to that. So
we will for sure.
Like, let's start with positives on the whole thing.
Let's start with you because you got to play on PC.
I did play. So I did PS4 on Friday. There were network problems, but I was able to get it and play some. I just didn't get a ton of time.
Right.
And I felt like I was playing terribly during that session. I pretty much just finished up the first quest, where I did the color puzzle, and then
fuck, man, yeah,
which is not a hard puzzle. It really isn't. It's not hard.
But if
people are dumb,
if they're not paying attention. And of course, most people are not using mics, so you switch one of the color, like there's, behind it showed like the color blue. I was like, okay, this one's got to be blue.
Yeah. They're just hidden everywhere. Like it's like you go to where the thing is, and then look around. You will see the pattern with the color somewhere around there. It might be below you, it might be above you. Either way, it's not hard.
I've got it. I've put it in there, and then the moron behind me comes and switches the color, and it's just like, I can't tell you to fucking stop. Like, I know what I'm doing. So that it took about 10 minutes longer than it should have, and I almost quit. I was just like, but I figured we would just randomly by chance get there, and we did.
Yeah. So I played on PS4, and it was fine. It looked good. It played well. I was having a hell of a time with the flight controls.
In a negative way.
It was just, I felt they didn't feel bad, but they were definitely not like, oh, this is just simple to fly around. Like, flying around is a skill in this game. Right. Like, the locomotion isn't just something that you're expected to like, oh, it's gonna take it easy on you. It's like, no, you gotta learn how to fly. You have to learn how to fly and dodge and roll and the whole thing. Like,
it took me a while to learn how to actually fly, like to push in the left stick. I just kept trying to fly, and I just kept bouncing around, and finally I just pressed it in on accident, and then just started flying. I was like, oh, okay, that's how you do it. Yeah. And I must have missed that tutorial, or it was...
There's no tutorials in this.
Yeah, okay.
There's absolutely... Because this demo thing is... You start at level 10. I assume this is many hours into the game.
Yeah.
And I think I watched a thing on... It was Friday morning. It was IGN playing through the demo some, and they had a guy from BioWare at IGN talking about it while they're doing it. And it made a lot of sense. They're like, this is I think like many hours into the game. There isn't any tutorials or anything. It's just like, yeah, you can click a little thing that brings up like at the very beginning, show me my controls. But beyond that, you don't get anything else. And it's really not telling you about the story. They're really keeping that under wraps. They don't want. I'm surprised it hasn't leaked, but they don't really want anyone to know what the actual story of the game is. So, and this demo is 6 weeks old.
Right, because they had to get it certified, basically, right? Or get it.
Basically, this is a branch of the code 6 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is not the game that went gold last week. Is a very different thing than this. Not very different. I mean, but they're like there's tons of improvements and things that just aren't in what the public is seeing right now. Because to get a demo ready like this is work in and of itself. That is, they had to cut a special branch of the game and then make it work for this small segment of the game, which requires, I can't imagine the number of things they probably had to change behind the scenes and hack together so that this thing was self-contained.
Right, and they're pulling people off the main dev team to do that, so fewer people getting it to gold. I just, my impressions, but also things I've been reading around the internet are like, there were good things to pull out of this if people could get through the technical issues and get into the game. When you say the story is under wraps, of course we don't know the overarching story, but I feel like the writing in the quest that we were given was pretty good.
Yeah, it was BioWare writing. Like, okay, you guys know what you're doing. These are people who've done a lot of writing for games before.
I always feel like in a small slice of a game like that, it's kind of hard to show that off because usually the arcs are bigger, the story arcs, the story beats. But there was enough there that I think at the beginning it kind of felt mundane, like go get this manifold, bring it back. But when you brought it back and that Matthias guy split into 3 and this whole storyline there, that's when I just got hooked in. I was like, okay, this is really interesting. And it was nice to see in such a short span of time something like that to hook me, where I can just extrapolate and say, like, across the whole game there will probably be a lot of things like that will keep me coming back. And I think that's the moment where I thought, I'm probably going to play this, not on Xbox, but I'm probably going to play this.
So today I played it on PC because the VIP code that I had got me. Basically, I just put it into my EA account, and then you go to the Anthem demos. Like, you can play it any place you want. Here's the link to the demo on the PS4 store, Xbox store, Live, or Origin PC.
Right.
So I just installed it on my PC and played it there, and I had a much better time. There's something about the mouse keyboard and the flying that I just grasped so much quicker.
Can you really quickly just kind of lay out for me what the keys were to like dodge or roll or fly?
I mean, it's WASD.
Yep.
Spacebar is jump, double jump. Shift is to go into fly.
Okay.
So you just double jump and then hit shift and then you're off. Or
cool. Okay.
C is hover. So like if you're flying and you press C, you will stop and hover. Right. Z is dodge. Q and E and R are special abilities. V is melee. That was by default. Left mouse button is fire your main gun. Right mouse button is zoom.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, I think that was it. It was enough. It was enough for me to. I played just fine. I picked it up super quick.
Did you find that that it ran much better than the PS4 version?
Yeah, I mean it ran. My PS4 version ran fine.
Okay. I
had no issues with the PS4 version. Didn't notice any stuttering or anything.
I definitely did on the Xbox One S, and then I think just the way the graphics were presented, I don't think was an issue with Xbox. I think maybe this is just their style, but it kind of felt a little grainy.
They probably are applying a film grain to it.
Right, that's what it felt like. There was a film grain. Their aesthetic choice, which I think I would get used to, but the thing that drove me the most nuts, which I talked to you about over text, was Fort Tarsus, where it just felt like you were on you were a camera on wheels.
So if you look down far enough, you can see your legs and arms.
Can you really?
Yeah. Okay. And there are footsteps. I was hearing them on the PC because I was like, I couldn't remember if there were footsteps or not. So today, while I was walking around Fort Tarsus, I made sure to listen, and there are footsteps when you're moving around.
I turned my headphones all the way up yesterday. I couldn't hear shit.
Yeah,
So
I totally heard footsteps on the PC version.
Okay. I mean, it must have been there, but
your arms are there. They're not swinging very far out in front of you. You basically have to be looking like almost straight down and walking, and you can see your hands moving. Because the demo always opens up on your hands on a table.
Yeah, right.
And they're still there. So you do exist. The thing that kills me about Fort Tarsus, I'm like, it's an interesting choice to be in first person there. I kind of get why they chose to do it. Just it makes it look bigger and more immersive than just running around in third person. But I don't know if it really works. It's really jarring.
It's super jarring. It really pulled me out of the experience, and I cannot see them not patching that in or whatever within a year.
Yeah. And also there's part of me that wonders if it's a thing where they don't want you to have to show a player character that you can customize.
Right.
Like crazy.
Because elsewise you're just in your Javelin.
Exactly. And you can customize your Javelin like crazy. I already did that.
Yeah.
And that was ridiculous. Right. The other thing that kills me in Fort Tarsus is you can't run. Which I am sure, that is one of the ones I'm like, they've actually, I was reading, that's in the final game.
Yeah,
it just wasn't in when they cut this demo.
Yeah, right. But it was really annoying.
Yeah, I'm like, I just want to run around quickly in here. It doesn't really matter.
Well, especially when you have to keep going back to run to your Javelin for each expedition or whatever.
Yeah.
But apparently there's a different place, like a launch bay or whatever, where you're in your Javelin, I think.
Yes.
And you can launch from there, which I think was what a lot of people will probably do, because I saw a lot of feedback about how Fort Tarsus was jarring and wasn't working well, and people just didn't like it.
Yeah, that's definitely the great thing there is all that stuff is probably very easy to fix.
Right.
That's not cutting to a third person, not the hardest. Increasing the movement speed there. Having shortcuts to jump around to different places if you want to like get to expeditions faster. Like the launch bay that they've been talking about, that was something on that IGN they talked about was originally scheduled for post-launch, but it was all working well, so they pulled it into launch because of feedback and players wanting, because it's a social hub as well.
Right.
So like your party and like can hang out in the launch bay in your Javelins. So it was always something that they, like, it was in the works. They just weren't sure if they were going to get it done for launch. And they did. So, which is cool. That will help. It actually reminds me of Monster Hunter World in that way. Because that would be their equivalent to the ship that floats above the camp in Monster Hunter World. Where you can see see other players, basically.
Yeah, right.
Because you can't see the other players in the town. Like, the town is yours.
Right.
But, so there's...
Overall... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was actually... Overall, going back to, like, the game, playing through that entire story arc was really neat. Clearly has some, lasting consequences. But, it ended pretty well, and I was able to unlock all the other Javelins. I don't know if you did that.
No, I honestly got to the end of Matthias, where it showed him splitting into 3, and that's as far as I played.
Okay. Next time you go back to there, you can go to the Forge, which is right next to your Javelin. You can link it, and that's where you can select weapons, you can do all your, like, customization and everything, but you can also look at, like, the Javelins that you have, and I assume for this demo, it allows you to just unlock them all, because you can go through, so you start with the Ranger. There's Colossus, the Storm, and the Interceptor, and it gives you 3 Javelin unlocks, and you can just go unlock all of them. So for the last 2 missions, I played the Storm. Holy crap. The thing rules.
Really?
Yeah, it's the one where you cast lightning and fire. Yeah, it's all elemental, and you hover everywhere and just rain destruction down. It was great.
That sounds pretty rad.
It was definitely more my playstyle.
So you're not shooting guns with that character?
And you have guns. And you kind of mix and match. I felt like I was doing pretty dynamic in, like, using basically spells and then intermixing that with gunfire to do, like, critical hits. Like, I'd freeze people, then shoot them to do extra damage. Do weird elemental combos, basically.
Yeah, I felt like the movement and the selection of weapons and skills or whatever, it felt strategic. Like, it felt like I could be putting a lot of thought into how I'm playing in that space, and not just a generic, corridor shooter kind of thing. It's not even a corridor shooter, of course, but just generic shooting around. Like, I feel like Destiny did that pretty well as well, juggling your skills plus your melee plus your weapons.
This still feels faster. I will say that overall, this game feels faster on skill cooldowns.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The whole thing. But really, you have to use them, and you have to use them all the time.
In this part, we were level 10. There were some enemies that were, I don't want to say bullet sponges, I feel like that's a negative connotation, but it took a lot to take them down. And if you weren't using all your skills, it would take forever.
Yeah, frankly. No, it felt like you were expected to use your skills. Because just shooting them wasn't the right way to go. Like, especially, Correct. There were some big armored guys that my bullets were basically doing nothing to it.
Mm-hmm.
But switching over to, like, basically it was a big fire orb explosion. I could select on the ground where I wanted it. It would do a bunch of splash fire damage. Oh, it wrecked those people with armor.
Nice.
Because it's the yellow health bars.
Right.
It would just do tons of damage to them. So, yeah.
Right, that's kind of what I'm talking about. Like, the different ways you have to approach different enemies. It keeps you thinking, as opposed to something like Halo, where I think it's engaging, it's interesting, but I didn't really put a ton of thought into it.
No.
You're basically just shooting these things, and you have to think about different ways that get around the shields or jump behind the knights or whatever, but there's a lot more strategy to this, I thought.
Yeah.
For me, I was initially frustrated with this thing called a VIP demo, which for me, I didn't pre-order, but I have EA. I pay for EA access, so I got it through there. And Friday, just paint the scene. Daughter finally goes down for a nap. I have like an hour and a half to play, so I load it up. And I spend 45 minutes trying to get into the game. And, it's already famous for now. Everyone knows that there were just problems accessing the server, or when people were logging in and they couldn't log in, then it started pinging the server and just basically doing a DDoS on itself, or whatever, and just shut down all of EA's servers, basically, right? Other people can get into
it was EA account login issues.
Right. So I couldn't really get in, and that was really frustrating. But obviously, first world problems, I'll try again the next day. Next day, I couldn't load an expedition.
It was 95% load bar?
Exactly. Got almost to the end and then just stuck there. I didn't read... Were other people having the same problem?
That was a very common one. I got it on Friday on the PS4. But that's where it was just, you had to quit out and you come back in and it would reconnect and go.
Well, that's exactly what I did. I'm just going to shut it off, try one more time. And I logged back in. They're like, you are on an expedition. You want to join it? I was like, yes. Yeah. And then I got right in. I was like, okay. Yeah. But there were so many load screens. Was that true for you too?
Yeah, there were a lot. It was very strange. Boy.
Yeah. Didn't seem like interconnected as well as I was hoping it would be. Every time there was a load screen when I was going to like a new place, it was just a little jarring.
Yeah, there was a load screens in places I wasn't expecting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really weird. I'm not sure why. Which maybe it's a Frostbite thing, actually. Almost certainly a Frostbite thing. I bet it totally has something to do with the Frostbite engine and giant open worlds. So,
based on your time with this game, do you think it's one that you're going to purchase?
Maybe. I'm intrigued enough by the story a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I want to buy it right off the bat, though. Yeah. But then again, I kind of do, because that would be when everyone might be playing.
Right.
Because that's always the sad part, is if you miss the boat on these kind of games, then you're like, coming later, everyone's higher level.
Yeah, it's kind of.
I don't know. It's really annoying in that way. But if I get it, I'm going to do it on PC for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it was much better there, and I don't know though.
Yeah, my friend here is going to get on the PC, and after playing on the Xbox, I would get on the PS4, but I don't know if the PS4 Pro version is going to be that much better than the Xbox One S. It will be better, of course, but
yeah.
I think that now that my PC is downstairs and I can play it whenever I want, I'll probably going to go with PC, because that's where it sounds like my friends are going to be.
Yeah, that would be a place to do it. I don't know though. We'll see what next week brings. Because next weekend is the Open. Anyone can play it.
Right. Yeah, right. But wouldn't it be the same build?
No, they said that they're going to be updating it.
Okay.
And then tomorrow they're going to talk about what next weekend will be.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know exactly. It might be the same mission, but your progress, if you played this weekend, you keep your progress till next weekend, through next weekend.
Right. Except for next weekend, I'll probably play on the PC. So I don't think it'll keep my
No, they don't.
Stuff.
Although in that IGN thing, they were talking about crossplay.
And
they said they would hope to do it eventually.
Right.
At least, I don't know if they cross-play PC with consoles. I will say you can be way more precise on the PC. Holy crap.
Yeah, that makes sense, of course.
Although it doesn't really matter, they're not doing PvP.
Right.
It is just a PvE game.
Right.
So, does it matter if the PC cross-plays with consoles? Does it really that big of a deal?
No.
Probably not.
Right.
So I hope in the future, they said it is on their list of things that they would like to do. So now that those barriers are down, basically now that Sony is like, yes, you can crossplay with people.
Right. I know that they're giving away skins for people who played the VIP demo. And it would be nice to have those, but if I wanted those, I would have to stick to the Xbox, and I'm not going to do that. So, unfortunately, I probably can't.
It's a skin, whatever.
Exactly, it's a small thing.
I saw that too, and I'm like, I don't give a damn about a skin, really. Yeah,
but I heard it was blue.
Maybe? I don't even know what it is.
I haven't seen it.
But once you get into the customization, if you spend any time in there, it's insane.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I don't need a skin. I can go crazy with how my thing looks. I could spend probably hours just customizing the look of my javelins. So, it's really cool. I really was impressed by that part. I don't know, like, I was enjoying. I roughly came out positive on the positive side overall on the whole thing. There's still a part of me that wonders if this is a game that type of game that I really want to play overall.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even with the BioWare.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. It's cool. It's generally well put together. It's just more of a, do I care about looter shooters? I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if I care.
In a way that you do about Diablo.
Exactly.
Interesting.
One of the things, the loot here isn't as interesting to me as Diablo loot.
No, definitely.
Nothing it is. It's not as deep, and that's one of the things that I like, is I like really, if we're going to go into an RPG with loot, I want deep systems on that loot. I want loot to feel special and awesome, and honestly, like playing a bunch of, I haven't played Destiny 2, but Destiny, its loot, it never got there for me.
Yeah,
a gun was a gun was a gun. Sure, it might spit more powerful bullets, or they're different colors and effects. It was still shooting. It might have a couple % better on one thing or another, but I'm like, I can't notice that.
Yeah, for me on Destiny is more about getting your power up. That's about it. Getting your light level up, I guess.
Yeah. And actually, this game feels like it's going to be similar, because they keep track of whatever level, everything you equip onto your javelin has a rating to it, and that all gets added together, and you get a total rating for your javelin. So it's going to similarly be like, oh, to do this thing, you need to be rating 200 or whatever. I have no clue what the top end is going to be.
Right. Yeah, I think for me, net positive as well. Once I finally got in, obviously this should have been a stress test, or it was, but it should have been called that or whatever.
Yeah, they should just call these things stress. That's what it is. Like,
yeah. And once I've got that frame of mind, it was fine. If I'm going to wait for reviews, of course, but if the reviews come back, not so much a number, but come back and just say, like, this is a story that you have to experience, that's going to be my in.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the gameplay was good. If the story's good, I'm there. If it comes out that the story is not great, I think I might rethink that purchase. So we'll see. I hope it's good.
I do too. I feel like they've already shown that the writing is better than Destiny's.
Oh God, yeah. Absolutely.
I'm like, I at least already care about this character that's split into 3, and like, I'm learning a lot more about the world. In this, like, it took me about 2 hours to play through the actual 3-4 mission storyline there. And by the end of it, I'm like, well, you had me at reality decay, so that's cool.
Yeah.
There's a point where they just start discussing reality decay, and I'm like, okay, I'm in. This is interesting.
Yeah, I thought it was smart. I thought it was engaging, and I thought that they did a really quick onboarding for me to get to care about a character, and maybe I have known that character throughout the earlier levels that we didn't play. It
sounds like it. I think a lot of these characters are people you know and have sent you on missions before, or they're around. It's not like just random one-offs. They are people that you've now spent hours with by this point. There's the person by your javelin who I sent you the picture of that had the conversation choices.
Yeah, I talked to that person too.
I talked to her between each mission, and her dialogue changes. She's talking about what's going on. But it does start dipping into a little bit of, like, your character a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And all I could get is a little bit and going, you were not supposed to be at Fort Tarsus. But it is now your home, and you can't, you basically, for some reason, you can't leave.
Right.
But you were there, and you have choices of, like, well, it's my home now, I need to protect it, or I just take it day by day, or something like that. Like, you can respond either way. But then you talk to her, and she talks about her backstory a bit, and that she wasn't meant to be at Fort Tarsus either. But she can't get to where she needs to go because of, I assume, some stuff going on with the weird sci-fi alien tech, but I don't know. But it already kind of starts me asking the question of, like, well, what's going on? What is Fort Tarsus then? Why is this important? Why are people stuck here? Why can't people leave and go to these other planets or cities that they talk about in these conversations?
I'm hoping it's not a question like, what is the Traveler? Because we really still didn't learn that in Destiny.
No.
Like, if they provide answers for those questions, like, I feel like if there's a satisfying, that's where the satisfying story comes in.
Yes.
Then it's just, because it's got, I don't know, I feel like the gameplay from what I played of Anthem, I feel like Destiny's is a little better for me. But if the story is a lot better in Anthem, then that's an easy win. So, because I spent a lot of time on Destiny, and I played through Destiny 2, but the story wasn't there to hook me at the end. So it'd be nice to
and I just
have
didn't even
that in this
care about
game.
the NPCs in Destiny.
No.
Like, you're supposed to, and then 2, they definitely, like, start pushing you, like, care about Cade and all,
and Zavala.
Zavala and all that, but I'm like, I just don't. Like, they're not that interesting of characters. I'm sorry.
Well, it kind of gets put to the point when this new expansion for Destiny 2, the Forsaken, where Cade dies. I'm like, I don't care. It's not Nathan Fillion, so I'm not interested.
Yeah.
It's a different voice actor completely. But also,
really?
I don't care enough. Yeah, it's not Nathan Fillion. It's Nolan North, I think.
What?
Or Troy Baker, one of the two.
Why'd they change the voice?
I have no idea. Either Nathan Fillion wasn't available or something, but it's not Nathan Fillion. So it's whoever isn't Ghost. If Ghost is Nolan North, then it's Troy Baker doing Cade, doing his best Nathan Fillion impression, basically.
Weird.
Yeah. So that, plus the fact that I don't know if I really cared about Cade after spending enough time with him that it just didn't hook me.
Yeah.
So one thing that I liked about Anthem over Destiny, I know the comparison is inevitable, unfortunately. But with the Grimoire cards in Destiny, with this one, the Codex or whatever I can't remember what they called it in Anthem, but it's all just right there in the game, so you can go read the lore like any good BioWare game.
Yeah.
Basically.
The Cortex.
Cortex, that's it. Yep.
Yeah, it was just that thing is deep.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's like any other BioWare game. You have your encyclopedias that are built into the game, and it's like, you want to know about any term or thing in the world? Here you go. Read your heart out.
And it's just nice to have it all there.
Yeah, in the game. Yeah, the Grimoire cards not being in the game is really bizarre to me. Like, super bizarre.
Weird choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so overall, I think we're both positive on that, and it was nice to get a chance to play it. We'll both... is it next week and we're going to jump in again?
Yeah, I'll probably... we'll find some time next week, and especially do it all on PC, and we can just play.
Yeah, I'll be on PC, and I think Brad will be jumping in then too. So
that'd be cool. Maybe we could try
it together.
One of the Stronghold. That's the only Stronghold, which is their
the one on the left side of the map.
4-person. Yeah, 4-person.
Is it like a raid?
Raid mission, group mission, whatever.
Strike
for Destiny, whatever.
Yeah.
Dungeon, if you're a WoW player, whatever term you want to use, that's what it is.
Yeah, cool.
Although it sounds like you can play them single player too if you want to. Like, the game scales everything based upon the difficulty you choose and the number of players.
Okay.
So I thought I saw a streamer, go through one of the Stronghold solo on easy, and it was doable. You're not going to get as great rewards or anything.
Right.
But it's weird. It definitely feels like they've set up where they, like, if you just want to experience the content single player, you can, for the most part. So that's a thing.
Yeah. The thing that I was wondering, because they put matchmaking into everything. If you could when they say you can do it solo, does that mean you do it solo and match up with 3 other people? But you're saying it's just like one person went through by themselves.
So cool. when I played on PC today, I just turned my matchmaking to private.
Oh, nice. And you just went through by yourself?
Yep.
Okay.
And it was totally balanced for one person.
Awesome. That's really good to know, because I'll be playing this with you guys, hopefully, if we all jump in together at the beginning. But I'm sure there'll be times where I'm playing by myself once you guys are ahead of me, because you guys play more than I do, or faster than I do, or whatever.
So yeah, I think they're giving flexibility there, which is nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a game we played with this demo. We'll have more to say next weekend, but that's that for now. Every 2 weeks, Anthony and I dig into our backlog and we play 1 hour of a game that's been sitting on our pile for a while that we just haven't got to. So we did it this week, every 2 weeks, and I'm going to start with mine.
Okay.
This one is not a cheat, although it's going to sound like a cheat when I explain it. It is a game that I recently bought on Switch, but it's a game that I had in my Steam library for the last 4 years or so.
Okay.
So I bought it on Switch. On Steam, it was super cheap. Then I got on Switch because it was super cheap as well, and I just wanted to have it as a game to play on the go. And it is Valkyria Chronicles Remastered. It's a game that people have likened to Fire Emblem in that it's like tactical battles. It's not grid-based or anything like that, and there's different mechanics to it. But I've always wanted to try it and just haven't really gotten a chance to sit in front of my computer and try it. So I loaded up on my Switch, played about an hour and a half actually, and wanted to play more and more. It's smart in the way that it lays out the battlefield, where, you know, in like a Fire Emblem game or XCOM or whatever, you have your characters and they have a certain amount of moves per character, and that's that pretty much. This one, as a commander, you have a certain amount of points to spend. And you can spend all those points moving one character and doing actions with one character, or you can spread out those points among all your characters. And it adds just a different level of strategy that I thought was pretty interesting. It's set in like a fictional World War One, and there's lots of cutscenes, lots of dialogue, lots of story in the hour and a half that I played so far. And it's exactly what people said it was. Just good story, fun strategy mechanics, and that they get progressively deeper, and then you get connected to these characters. So I don't know, not much to say other than I really liked it, and I'm going to keep playing it. That's going to be that's my current Switch game.
Nice
for the bed, and
that's a good find
on the go. Yeah, just took me to buy it a second time to actually sit down and play it.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Have you played that game, Valkyria Chronicles?
I've played. Yes.
Okay, so you played the game that I'm talking about then?
Yeah.
You
yeah.
Maybe played the original one.
Wait, Valkyria Chronicles, the one.
Yeah, one. So it's the remastered version of that.
Oh, it's on Switch now?
Yeah. It came out on Switch.
I had no clue the remaster one came out on Switch.
Yeah, it came out like a month before 4 came out.
That makes a lot of sense.
It's $20.
So I bought Valkyria Chronicles when I got a PS3. So I got the PS3 probably a year or 2 years after PS3 came out. The first game I went out and bought was Valkyria Chronicles. And I played the crap ton of it on PS3.
Okay.
Love that
game.
So you know
exactly.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's why I want 4.
Right.
2 was a PSP game. PS Vita game? I don't remember. PSP game.
I think it was PSP,
yeah. And then 3 never actually got released in the US.
Oh.
3 was also a Vita game, but never came into the US. And then 4 is what I would consider the true successor to 1.
Yeah, because they had Valkyria Revolution last year, the year before.
Revolution is a weird game. It is not the same game. It's a much more traditional JRPG. It's not a tactical RPG. Valkyria Chronicles is a ton of fun.
Yeah, and it was on sale on Switch for $15, and I was like, all right, I gotta do it.
$15, holy crap!
$15. It's normally $20, so it's on sale.
Nice.
You probably catch it on sale. 4 was on sale on Switch too for $30.
Yeah, that's what I'll get at some point this year, I'm sure.
Yeah, people really, really like it. I feel like now, like really good games still get buried because there's so many really great games.
Yeah. I'm glad you're experiencing it and enjoying it.
Me too. As opposed to Invisible Ink, I thought was interesting, but I haven't felt compelled to go back. But Valkyria Chronicles, I've gone back to twice already. So
yeah. My only real complaints of Valkyria Chronicles going on is some missions feel very puzzly. They there's always that line in tactics game of let you do however you want to do to beat it, and then on the other side is, no, there's a very specific way that you have to beat this mission. And there's a few missions in the game that trend way more to that, like, that being railroaded, you have to do this a very specific way to beat it.
That's how Fire Emblem, the Birthright, the 3 games that came out, like the first, like the base one, I think it was Birthright, was fine, or Fates was fine, and then Birthright, the second one that kind of plays the other side of the story, was exactly like that. Like, you really couldn't play it too much how you wanted to. There were very specific paths or very specific ways to do it, and if you couldn't do it, then you didn't do it.
Yeah. And a lot of tactics games fall into that sometimes. And so it just does. There's definitely missions that are frustrating because of that. But overall, it was a great game. I love the look and aesthetic of that one. I absolutely love how it looks.
Yeah, really. So that's what I've spent my time on this week for an hour and a half.
For me, I spent, I again just went to my Steam backlog, all my games, and then just started arrowing down through games, just seeing which one I haven't put any time into that actually looks interesting to play or something. Because there's a lot of really small things I am like, I have no clue why I have them or where they came from. But then I got to this game called Front Mission Evolved.
Front Mission Evolved. I'm going to Google that real fast.
So Front Mission is a Square Enix mecha tactical RPG game. I had it for the original PlayStation. I don't know if I had it before I went to college or not, but I played a crap ton of my freshman year of college. I wore out a controller playing this game from the original Front Mission 3. But that is very much a tactics game where you just pilot giant mechs around a map. And you can go customization crazy with arms and parts and, just go to town. Front Mission Evolved, I think I picked this up 4 or 5 years ago when it was on some Steam sale, is a third-person action shooter mecha game. In the Armored Core vein. Same universe as all the other Front Mission games, but it's just an action game. Right. I was like, I'm surprised I've never installed this or played this, even though, it's giant mechs shooting things. Okay. So I played about an hour. I got through what I would consider the main thrust of the story. The main hook in that first hour, to like who you are and your character and why, what this story is going to be about. I don't know if I'll play any more of it. Like, I think even, because it came out in 2010, and even back then, 9 years ago at this point, it wouldn't have been that great of an action shooter.
That's
it's not
damning.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's just kind of boring, bland on its shooting. It kind of just ticks all the boxes. There's not a lot of strategy you're shooting. Like, you have a couple different types of weapons. You have shoulder weapons. You have arm. There's some stuff going on about where you can blow up arms and legs of opponents, or they can happen to you that can disable weapons and make you move slower. But really, it never seemed to matter. It's just shoot everything, make it blow up. If you happen to destroy an arm, great, whatever. It doesn't really matter. You're going to kill it anyway. And so it was very much just kind of an arcadey shooter, but didn't do a whole lot with it. It's not visceral enough on that side of things, and then it just kind of does standard stuff. None of the weapons feel all that crazy different. It was kind of bland. It was more disappointing in that way.
I'm looking at a bunch of curators on Steam right now, and most of them are not recommended for a lot of the things that you're saying.
Yeah. It's not put together. It ran fine. For a 9-year-old game, it looks fine. But the gameplay is just kind of your run-of-the-mill shooter. It does allow for, it was between missions, you'll clearly get tons of different parts, and you can customize your Wanzer is what they are. Wanzers.
Wanzer.
Yep. Wanzer. It's German.
That makes sense.
Wanzer. Although no one says it in the German.
Right.
In this one, the voice acting is not great. I'll give it that. Everything is voice acted. It's just not that great of voice acting. So that's just kind of where I'm at with it. It was it's not horrible, but it's not great. It's not good. It's not enough to keep me wanting to play all that much more of it. It's move to an area, enemies will come in, you shoot at them, finish off, go to the next objective point, more enemies, next, rinse, repeat, over and over. It's the Halo thing as well.
That's the worst of those kind of games, where it's just corridor shooter after corridor after corridor, and nothing.
Except it's not really a corridor, it's a big city, but really it's a corridor.
Yeah,
honestly.
right.
Like,
it's a wide corridor.
It's a wide corridor going down streets that opens into like a big park, and you're flying around, dodging and shooting in it. That one will probably just get uninstalled and be like, okay, hopefully I didn't pay that much for it.
It's a nice addition to this type of project, because all you have to do is commit an hour and say yay or nay and move on. So thinning that backlog pile just a little bit.
Little bit. Yeah. There's still 300 more games to look at. So
yeah, exactly.
on Steam alone. Yeah. Oh, and how many games have I gotten through PS Plus?
Right. Our PS4 backlogs, my Xbox backlog, my 3DS backlog, huge. My Switch backlog, my Wii U backlog, my Vita backlog. It's awesome to have so many great games at the same time. Yeah. It's hard to choose sometimes. So, why don't we move into what we've been playing in general this week then? I, last night, on Saturday night, did my fortnightly gaming with my brother. We spend 2 hours every other Saturday playing a game through Game Pass. I already shared that we started with Division that went south pretty quick. So we started Gears of War 4 2 weeks ago, and we picked it up again this week. We're halfway through the campaign now. And my God, it's great in terms of a third-person shooter. Because like I said, I'm tired of shooters. I'm tired of like the run here, shoot, run there, shoot. But if I'm comparing like Gears to Halo, like I really enjoy Gears 4 more than I enjoyed Halo 4, for example. And I think Halo 5 did a better job of what I like in Gears, in that it's the company that you're with. Even if you play solo, you have 3 other characters around you, and the banter as you're going through is really interesting. Is keeping me hooked into the story. I really like how the characters are playing off each other. But beyond that, just each level or each chapter in the game is something different. Like, I think I started talking about this last week, but there's like just a standard run and gun. Then there's like a horde mode area, and then there's one where you're basically battling like weather effects, and you're trying to avoid like lightning and get to different places. It's kind of almost like a cover puzzle chapter, basically. Then there's one where there's basically like a huge plane overhead, and you're trying to shoot down its engines. And then another one where you're like on motorcycles, like speeding through this forest. So it's just, for me, when I get tired of shooters, is kind of every level just feels like the same thing, just with more enemies, or the same thing, just a little more complex. With Gears of War 4 so far, and I'm halfway through, every chapter feels like something completely different.
Nice.
And I don't feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over again, even though the mechanics of shooting are kind of the same thing over and over again. But of course, Gears has that really cool melee mechanic where you're able to use your gun with the
chainsaw.
Chainsaw, yeah. Which my brother and I couldn't figure out how to do it until about our 3rd hour of playing. So that was nice to finally figure out how to do that. But it's switching up the enemies, switching up the locations, switching up basically the gameplay, like what you're doing as you're shooting, has been really interesting so far. There's one where it like split your group of 4 up, and you kind of flanked left or right, and then you had to like help the other people take down obstacles to get further on their side. It really is pretty smart about how varied everything is. Like, I'm looking forward to playing it again in a way that I never looked forward to playing Halo again, and never looked forward to playing Call of Duty again. Yeah. And the thing that was interesting last night, almost like emotional for me, it was an achievement that we got, which you may or may not have seen my Instagram. But there's or maybe I sent it to you.
You sent it to me.
It to you. Yeah. Okay. It's called we unlocked an achievement called Becoming Brothers, for basically completing 2 acts of the campaign in co-op, basically. And the reason why it was kind of like struck me, and maybe my brother as well a little bit, is that my brother and I don't really get along. You know this.
Yeah.
So to be playing together is a little odd, but it's bringing us together over something that we're doing, and we don't have to like talk about all our baggage or whatever. We just are playing, and it just kind of both struck us like maybe we're becoming brothers a little bit, because we really aren't close. But just gaming together is bringing us together in a way that we haven't been for a very long time. So it was really cool to kind of see that achievement pop up and just kind of give us both pause. And it was that moment where we were both like thinking about it and didn't say anything about it, but I could tell we were both thinking about it. So that was really cool. So I've been playing that. And then I playing a mobile game called Ding Dong XL. I don't know if you've heard of that. But it's basically just a mobile game where you have two poles on the north and south of your screen if you're playing in landscape, and you just shoot this ball between the poles, and there's stuff flying in between. I heard about it, and you're just trying to avoid it, basically, and see how many times you can pass through. It's kind of like modern day Frogger, I don't know. But I heard about it on Kind of Funny Games Daily, and people were talking about it, and GameScoop, also the IGN podcast, just how just fun on a straight arcade high score level. And because they were talking it up, it's only 99 cents on the App Store or whatever. It just blindsided the developer, who it blew up. Like, this guy has made a ton of money basically just on a couple of these communities saying this is a really fun, cheap, on the go game. So that's kind of cool, but it's pretty fun to play here and there, just a time waster. And the last one, of course, I played today was Magic: The Gathering Arena. Finally loaded that up.
You mean online, right?
Yes, definitely. The one from the 90s. No, uninstalled that shit last week. Arena. So played basically the tutorial and was just struck by how well the cadence was for onboarding a new player. Like, through each of the 5 stages of the tutorial, just giving you just enough that you need to know in the moment to get through that fight, and then build onto it for the next, and on and on. And of course, having played Magic for a while, I know they didn't tell us all the mechanics, but told us enough to get through, and then you'll learn the rest as you go. But I fucking forgot how much I like playing Magic. It is more complex than Hearthstone, and that's the card game I've been playing for the last couple of years. I haven't played Magic really that much lately. But the effects and the things that your cards do and how they play off each other just feels more strategic.
With that complexity comes quite a bit more depth.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why that game's been around for... last year was 25 years. This will be its 26th year, right. 2019. So Magic is a very... I don't know. It's easy to teach what you saw in the tutorial, because the game itself is actually pretty simple. Like, the core rules of Magic are not complicated. You have mana, use that to play cards. You can play other cards, and you can attack your opponent. And you attack. You don't attack necessarily even your opponent. You just say, I'm attacking with these creatures. There's no targeting, there's no nothing. It's just they attack. Rinse, repeat. Like, that's the basic game. What adds complication is all the card interactions.
Right.
Which is fine, because it allows for... to me, it's always felt like it allows for players to slowly wade into the depth of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And as you saw through the tutorial, they can introduce more. They can choose what cards you get through that tutorial to show you that depth as you go deeper and deeper.
Yeah, it was really well paced in terms of it felt like you're losing, but I knew, since it was a tutorial, that they were going to give me the cards that I needed to show me some mechanic that would help me win. It was just really smart, and I'm going to play after we get off tonight a little bit before I go to bed. But I basically just finished the tutorial. Now I have quests to earn coins or whatever.
Yeah, I think you have to play 3 games or something.
Okay.
I think, again, when I did the tutorial, this was back when it was closed beta, and they had just put in, so it may have been changed by now, but it was like you went through that quest that you did. It then unlocked some decks for you.
Yep, got 5 decks.
5 decks, and I think they're all monocolored decks. One deck of each for each of the 5 colors of Magic.
Yep.
And then I think all you have to do is play a few games, and it will then unlock the full arena experience. I think you have to play 3 games, and then it unlocks, and it may be more now. It may unlock over time. They may have spaced this out, but then it would unlock then you can draft, and you can do see every event that you can do in Arena. Because I bet if I showed you my Arena screen, you'd be like, what the hell is all these different things you can play?
Yeah.
Because I think they slowly introduce those.
Yeah, once I got out of the tutorial, said play 1 game. Your quest is to play 1 game, and you'll get 250 coins or whatever.
Yep, you'll get coins, and they'll probably show you things to do with the coins. And then you'll do, at least for the next, I think you'll play a few more games and it'll say, hey, we'll unlock like 5 more decks for you. And they'll be multicolored, 2-color pair decks.
Nice.
And then then you'll go through a series of like play X number of games and you'll unlock a deck, and you can basically do that like each day or every other day until you finish that. And by the end of it, you'll have like 15 decks that they've given you, of all different types. So you'll have without paying a dime, and you'll have earned coins, and you'll have earned card packs, the whole thing. Like you will be given a good selection of cards to just start with. And really, there is no harm. Like the decks, they actually give you these not the monocolored ones, but once you get to the dual colored decks that they give you, some of those are plenty fine to just go into like the random queue and say, I want to play. Because it will match you with people. They do matchmaking based on like your overall rating, but then also the power level of your deck. Because there's ranked and unranked, so if you just do play, which is unranked, it will just match you against decks that should be fun to play against. About the same power level. So,
I need this on mobile, but I'm happy to have it on my computer.
I don't know how. Eventually, I'm sure it will come to mobile eventually. It's all built in Unity. Mm-hmm. I don't know how they do a lot of the UI on mobile and make it easy to play at all. Like, I know Hearthstone. I would not say the optimal way to play Hearthstone is on your phone.
I play on my iPad, so
that's great. iPad gives you the full experience. But
I've tried playing like Legends on my phone, for example, and that was a nightmare. That was really bad.
Yeah. So you're talking about iPad. I don't think they do that soon. That'd be honestly, I would wait until I assume they're going to get out of beta on PC, and then they'll start porting it to other things. Honestly, the same way that Hearthstone worked. Hearthstone was PC until they launched, and then they really thought about how are they going to move it to mobile and iOS and Android markets.
Right.
So, but yeah, I should say like beyond the hour I did here, the Anthem, all my other time was Magic.
Oh, really?
it was my some Diablo 3. But I don't really need to talk more about Diablo 3. That a season's going, and I am in chapter 3 of my season.
Oh, nice.
So I've gotten 4 of the 6-piece set. I'm on my way to getting the last 2 pieces of the free 6-piece for the Demon Hunter this time. It's good. It's still fun. Seasons are great.
And you're doing this one on Switch, right?
On Switch, yeah. They're having a lot of fun on that. But my way to somewhat decompress from all the work and stuff has been to just do games on Arena. Because they're quick. I can get a game in about 10-15 minutes.
Right. And you're just playing other players at that point, right?
Yeah, and I just go into the normal play queue, and I'm like, I have this black-white vampire deck that I really enjoy. And so I just go into the queue and play that. I think I'm currently sitting at like 40-12 with wins to losses with that deck.
Oh, dang.
I love that deck so much.
Is it... Shit, I was going to ask now. Never mind, keep going.
Yeah, it's just a really fun deck of white weenie aggro with a nice black back end to it and lifelink, and I sacrifice my life to do all sorts of crazy stuff, but I gain life every time I block and throw these stupid little 1/1s in front of you and gain. Yeah, it's dumb, right. And I never feel like I'm out in that game. Like I can be stuck on like 3 mana for 7 turns and I still win games.
Oh, that's nice.
Like, cause it's just, I'm just going like, I don't care. I don't need a lot of mana to make this thing work.
Frustrating your opponents.
I'm sure some of them are like, God, just die already. You're like,
right.
You're like 3 mana and you only have like 5 life left. Why won't you die? And then I swing and I'm back up to like 18 life. And
man, those are my favorite games where I come right back up.
Yeah.
At least I'm thinking about Hearthstone, but still that same buzz.
Yeah, so no, it's been a fun deck to play, and I've just been doing that, or I've been doing some, there's the new Magic set, Ravnica Allegiance, and I've been doing I was doing some sealed events.
And do you buy into those?
Yeah, it costs gems. Yeah. Although when it came out a couple weeks ago, I spent, I think I put $20 worth of gems in. Mm-hmm. I'm only down 200 gems from where I started.
Oh dang, because you keep winning.
Yeah, I win enough. I break even most of the time. There's only one sealed where I didn't break even. So,
Oh, I know I was gonna ask you. So this Magic the Gathering Arena, is it all just Return to Ravnica cards, or is it a bunch of different sets?
No, it's
the last 3 years or 2 years or whatever the whole.
So this is weird. So currently it is 1, 2. It's basically the last 2 years.
Okay.
It's the Ixalan cycle of sets. I think there's 2 sets in Ixalan. Magic 19, M19 base set, Dominaria, and now the 2 Ravnica sets. In closed beta, so when they did the switch from closed beta to open beta, they actually removed some sets. There were 3 sets that I had in closed beta that went away. But they also said when they were doing the switch between closed and open, they reset accounts. So I got all my gems back, got everything back. But it was the Kaladesh sets. And the next time we have set rotation is going to be this October. And they haven't specifically talked about what they're going to do with set rotation for Arena. But they have said that they're not going to put old sets back in. So they're not going to go back to there's a format in Magic called Modern.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to have Arena's never going to have Modern. They're not going to go. They've already said they're not going to go back and do original Ravnica and all those old sets from the early to mid 2000s on. They're like, nope, we're not going back. So that's not what this is for. If you want to do that, you need to go to Magic Online and suffer through the 90s interface. So,
oh God. Yeah.
Yep.
No,
that's
is
for the hardcore players. That's fine. And honestly, right now, what it's called as standard is what it's called whenever it's what we're in right now, which is the previous cycle sets and the current cycle, which is Ravnica, plus the extra sets. And it's the best standard has ever been, I think, ever.
In terms of the balance or the meta, or
yeah, meta and balance, the whole thing. There are so many viable decks and strategies, and
that makes it fun.
I don't know how long it's going to last like this, but it is the best it's been for a long time.
Yeah, man, it's so nice. I think you said it last week. We don't have cards cluttering up our house. Nope. We can just do it on our screen.
No, and it still feels really good to get those rare cards.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then you start working. You start working towards. Honestly, now I don't even care. Sure, I'll get packs just to fill out my collection and stuff, but it's really just getting wild cards at this point. So I can just buy this. I can just craft the specific cards that I want for deck ideas that I have.
Right.
Because I don't care about collecting all the cards. It doesn't matter to me. I just care about having the cards I want for the deck I want to play. So
right. Well, I'm hooked. I've only played through that beginning part today, and I desperately want to play when we're off the phone
once
tonight.
You actually get far enough in, you can get to a point where you can just challenge other players. You don't have a friends list yet. They said a friends list is going to come later. They're going to do a big social push of allowing friends lists and things like that, but that's not where they are in the beta right now.
Right.
But you have your account name. You can give that to someone else, and you can click a button in the UI and say, I want to challenge this person with this deck. And you can go play a game against them. So eventually, if you ever want to, I can play a game against you.
I definitely will want to.
Okay.
That's for sure.
I'll bring my vampires and you can see the stupidity.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll get my ass kicked.
I don't know.
But I always have.
But it's also Magic, so there's a good amount of luck involved in Magic on what you draw and when.
Yeah, of course.
So
that's what makes it fun, is a little bit of randomness there.
Yeah, you never feel like you're completely... Even if someone's playing just a crazy good deck, there's always a chance you'll beat it. So nothing's ever 100% in the game.
Now we just need the Game of Thrones card game to be put online.
Maybe eventually. The licensing is probably hard there.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because Wizards owns their own thing. But that game is rad. Oh my god, that game was so fun.
If you still have it, you should totally bring that up for...
I do. I will. Okay. Now that I'm thinking about that, yeah, I will for sure. We'll play a game while I'm up there.
Yeah. Because what else are we going to do all the time at Emerald City beyond walking around?
Play games, play Switch, play card games.
Yeah.
Read comics.
Read comics.
Go to signings.
Yeah. Get stuff signed. I want to get I want to get some comics signed.
I still got to buy that ticket. I haven't done that yet, but I will. Yeah, so this is episode 176 of Prof and Dev Play Games. He's at SummerSpeak. I am at Prof Plays Games. Check us out on Patreon, Prof and Dev Play Games. Please rate us on your podcast service of choice. And we will see you next week.
Later, everyone.